Hey guys, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel. My name is the Lady Designer, and in today's video I would like to share with you all my top 10 things I would like to see added or changed in Planet Zoo. Obviously this is just my personal opinion and you may or may not agree with me, so obviously I would love to know in the comments down below what your opinion is about this top 10 and what other ideas you have that you'd like to see added or changed into the game. And obviously make sure to subscribe, of course, if you haven't already, and leave a like at the video if you guys enjoyed this video. Now without further talking, let's go and jump into this top 10 video, which is in no specific or particular order, by the way. Number 1, real life feeders. You guys know by now how much I dislike the water pipe in the game, so I would love to see some more realistic options for that. But also there are so many real life feeders that should be added into the game. Just look at these incredible custom feeders made by Lighter. I mean, I'm sure I don't even have to convince anyone that all of these type of feeders should actually be added into the game as real functional feeders. They're just perfect and exactly what we are still missing in the game, in my opinion. Number 2, while I do really like it that we can do zoo tours now in the game, and I do understand that like donation boxes are needed to get a good financial balance when playing, and that we can now make people stop at sections we really want them to stop with, like these vista points. I am in general not a fan of the size of these items in the game at all. I would love to see maybe just a little dot or something really tiny to put on the edge of a path to resemble these type of items, or simply the option to be able to lower these type of items into the ground with the 3D gizmo, and that staff and guests would still be using them like they normally would while standing on the path. If I'm correct, this should already be possible with mods, but I would obviously like it a lot more if this would just be added into the game, as still a lot of us are not using any mods. So yeah, just make these items smaller or make it possible to hide them into the ground would be just super amazing in my opinion. Number 3, I would love to see VFXs for insects and for some fish. I would just love to bring my planters, bushes and ponds a bit more alive with these type of VFXs. Now clearly having real fish or koi fish as a habitat or like aquarium animal would be even more amazing, but if that is not going to happen or not possible, I would also be very happy with some VFXs that you can lower into your ponds and your habitats to bring it more alive with some fish in general. And with like bugs, you should obviously think of like bees or ladybugs or flies, or for example grasshoppers, including of course some audio that really gives the feeling you hear these type of bugs in the bushes. And like for flies, they would really work super well in some habitats. I mean, just imagine like a pile of poop and you're like, oh yeah, I just want to give it some extra flies. I mean, how often do you see that in a zoo? I think just something small like this could really help for a bit more realism in your zoos. So yeah, I would absolutely love to have some VFXs for insects and some small fish. Number 4 would be an airlock gate for boats. I remember when building a tropical boat ride adventure and how hard it is to separate habitats from each other and make sure animals will not escape when they're swimming. I mean, the koalas were just a crazy example for that, or the jaguars. They were just constantly going to the edge of their habitat and trying to escape once swimming, and it was so frustrating. It would be really nice if we would get something, but I say airlock, but I'm not really sure if that is the right word for it, but at least something that would help you to separate a habitat easily instead of like having to fill up the whole water section where the boats go through on the edge with like a lot of elephant grass and such. So yeah, something like that you just put onto your boat ride track ride or something would be just so useful. I'm sure that a lot of people had the same frustrations that I had when building a boat ride. So number 5 is also also not really surprising. I mean, some extra path functions, things like one-way path would be super handy, but also a simple way of creating 2-meter or 3-meter wide path for both guests and staff. And also something that really annoys me right now in the game is the fact that we have these really ugly textures of staff path. Just give me the guest path, but then with the staff logo on it to just separate them, I would already be so happy with that. Like, I do know that most of these things are also possible with mods already, although I don't really know if that is also the case with staff path, but I do know like the width of the path is possible with mods. But again, I would just really love to see these kind of things just implemented in the game without needing to install any mods. Number 6, smaller floating enrichment items, or a change to how much space they actually need. I don't know about you guys, but when I create a habitat for an aquatic animal like a sea lion, penguin, or like an otter, for example, the amount of space you need for this floating enrichment item is honestly insane and really makes me not want to use them at all. It's one of those things in a game that I really don't understand why it's implemented in the first place. Well, obviously for the type of animations that belong to this enrichment item, I guess, but was there really no one when designing this item and the animation thinking like, hey, maybe this is all a little bit too big. Let's make sure people actually enjoy using them also in a bit more smaller habitats. I mean, I don't know, it might just be me, but it really bugs me that it needs so much space around it to really work. So yeah, definitely something I would love to see changed in Planet Zoo. So number 7, if you have been following me on the channel for a while now, you know that I also really enjoy making these big cages for some animals, and especially with more of these round shapes to it. Unfortunately, we only have square and rectangular chain link fence pieces, but it would be so useful if we would also get like a variety of more triangle pieces of these same type of fence pieces. And also like the same goes for simple glass pieces. I would really be so thankful to get more triangle pieces in the game, which are a lot more useful for like these round shaped buildings with like this pointy middle section. So yeah, definitely something I really still hope to see in Planet Zoo before they end development at some point. So number 8, another thing that has been bugging me a lot in the game are the lack of more rope pieces that are actually climbable. Like we have some really pretty useful bigger and longer vine pieces where animals can climb or walk onto, but I'm not always super excited to use these vines for my habitats and really would love to see a bigger, smaller, and longer variety of these rope pieces, including of course like the bends, you know what I mean? Like the vine pieces that we have, like this big bend, like I think they're 8-meter wide and 60-meter wide or something like that. But then just having them in like a rope color. I mean, we have like these straight pieces of 1 meter and 2 meter, but making like a bended shape from that is just so ugly. So man, yeah, it really frustrates me that we just don't have rope pieces in at least like the same pieces that we have for the vines, but maybe just a bigger variety of it would be just so amazing, because it's really going to help all the climbing structures that we are making for monkeys and primates, for example. I'm really just a bit confused about the fact that we didn't already get these type of rope pieces in the game, but really, Frontier, if you're listening, please give us some more variation with rope pieces that are climbable. It would be so amazing. Number 9, a small habitat guest gate. I remember being so pleasantly surprised about the current guest gate to enter walkthrough habitats, and I really like it that it opens when guests approach the gate and closes when they went through it. The same goes for these new, what is it called, PVC curtains or plastic curtains? I always forget the name, that we got like in the free update next to, I think it was the Twilight pack because of the beds. Like I think both these guest gates are just absolutely fantastic, but I also feel like we could definitely use some smaller or lower type of guest gates. Maybe a wooden one and a metal one, for example, would already be enough, I think. But at least something as low as like the small staff gate that we have right now in the game as well. That will be just really, really nice nice to get. Or also just simple pieces that would just hold the animals. I keep saying airlocks, but I'm not really sure what that is. But like in the Netherlands, we have like these Jeep safaris, like in real life, I mean. And then you have like this roster on the floor, so the animals will not try to escape because it's just barely walkable for them. Something like that, like for either track rides, but also for guests to just put that on your path and just to make sure that the animals would not walk over it, will be just super amazing as well. But last but not least, number 10, something I have been asking for so long now, is just simply to get statues in the same style of all animals that we have right now in the game, and signs in the same style for all the animals that we have in the game. Like, how often I try to search for a statue or a sign and it isn't there for a specific animal, or it just totally doesn't match the theme I'm working on because it's like super heavily themed, like the Indian theme, for example. Like, it's great if you're working on an Indian theme, but I can't really use a Bengal tiger statue in the Indian theme style if I'm building a city zoo, for example. So yeah, I really would be so happy with just one good, pretty generic set of statues and pieces or like signs which can be used in pretty much any theme you are working on. And if they will be recolorable, would be even more amazing. And like, they're doing a really good job at this point with like the animal signs with the latest packs to give us like the same style of signs, even though I still sometimes find them too big or too small. Like, I don't really think there is like this same standard for it right now. So yeah, it will be just super amazing to get like a general set of statues and signs that would go for all the animals and would be simple to use in any theme. I will be just so happy with something like that. Now, clearly there are tons of other things I still would like to see added or changed as well in the game, like having all temple pieces of the South America pack to be recolorable and not only a selection of them, or like the plaster wall with the circle in it, to see this one being added in all wall sets in the game, or things like hay or grass bill props or a grass mower prop or gift shop prop. Surely this list can go on and on and on, but I tried to cut it down with this top 10, and obviously I'm super curious to hear what you guys all think of this top 10 and what other things you would like to see changed or added into the game. Do let me know in the comments down below because I'm super curious to hear your thoughts as well. Leave a like at the video if you guys enjoyed, and subscribe of course if you haven't already. And yeah, I just really do hope to see you guys on the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye guys!